Right, well, the Gauteng High Court Local Division has dismissed with costs the NBC Holdings application to hold on to the lucrative 6 billion rand Chemical Industries National Provident Fund. The company has administered the fund for the past 21 years. This has paved the way for Akani Retirement Fund Administrators to take over the administration of the fund. In a scathing 52-page judgment, Judge Vally characterized the reasons advanced by the Retirement Fund Administrator to continue to administer the fund after they were fired by the Trustees as woefully inadequate, abusive court process, destructive and disruptive. All right, well, to tell us more about this is Zamani Letjane, Managing Director of Akani Retirement Fund Administrators. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Letjane, and thank you for joining us here on SABC News, sir.
Good afternoon, Flo, and your viewers.
As a start,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. As a start, you're taking over the administration of the fund after NBC Holdings administered for 21 years. Good news for you, of course, but new territory for you and old territory for them. I suppose you won't be getting any sort of a handover from them after that scathing judgment by Judge Vally handed down to them. So how do you begin to start really to take over this process?
No, it's an easy process. Remember, we currently administer the biggest fund in local government, which has 19.5 billion in asset value. So for us to take over the fund is very easy. It's a question of us giving them a hard drive with some spec on how to go about it and give us the data. So hardly 3 days, we should be able to be up and running, provided the data that we are receiving, it's up to date and it's authentic.
What was your reaction to Judge Vally's scathing judgment? And I hate for you to have to talk about, your competitors, but really, what was your assessment of what Judge Vally had to say? He said that, there was a lot of inadequacy, abuse of court processes, destructive and disruptive by NBC Holdings, who administered the fund for all these years. From your own homework, what have you kind of seen regarding what NBC Holdings had really been up to with regards to this fund? I mean, they'd been administering for a number of years, hadn't they?
No, that's what we hear and we heard. But I must say they were irresponsible and unreasonable in their conduct. I have been in the retirement sector for many years now. I never had or experienced a situation where if a service provider has been terminated, he will undermine the decision of the board. So that has been a bad experience, I think, for the industry. They acted as if they were in a taxi rank, forgetting that this is a financial sector. We have integrity. We need to respect the decision of our client being trustees. But this landmark decision, I think, has taught quite a number of players in the industry that once you are terminated, respect the decision of the trustees and comply instead of wasting time and money to go to court, even though you don't have a legal standing on the matter.
I'm just interested to know, Mr. Letjane, on what basis what really were the grounds for NBC Holdings to sort of, as you put it, undermine the decision of the board or the trustees when they approached the court? What did they feel they had? When you approach a court, you obviously believe that you have grounds or a leg to stand on. What leg to stand on did they have, or did they think they had at that time?
Look, they were given enough time according to the contract that they had with the fund. For instance, they were terminated, they were given 90 days notice. We were then invited and were appointed. And they then decided, as per the Medusa operandi, like what they used to do in the past, mobilize members to revolt against the decision of the board. coming up with allegations and conspiracy stories, which were in fact not closer to what the board has decided upon. So those were the tactics that they undertook. They even went as far as underhandedly receiving bank details for one of my business, the funeral scheme, to try and justify their position. But in my affidavit, it was very clear that the decision that they were working against was ultra-virus. Ultra-virus in the sense that whatever I do in my business accounts, it has to do with me, has got nothing to do with my competitor. But they were in a position of underhandedly accessing our bank details. And as I said, I never had or experienced that kind of a behavior by a competitor. So they didn't have a case per se, but they thought they will mobilize members, get rid of the trustees, get rid of the principal officer, and then create their own trustees that will then maybe reinstate them as an administrator. So they were trying to buy time. Yeah. Fortunately, that did not happen.
Well, surely this is bad news as a whole for NBC Holdings in general going forward with other clients. But what I'd like to ask you really is, what does this sort of, and I'm going to call it an opportunity, really mean for black pension fund administrators like Akani Retirement Fund Administrators?
Look, our vision has been that we would like to become the biggest black administrator in Africa as a startup. That has been our vision. And when we were appointed by the CMPF, that boosted our, call it ego. And we said to ourselves that our ambitions are now becoming together. So we were ready to take over whatever big fund that's in our favor. We have, we're in a process of opening up offices throughout our provinces. Some of the offices are already operational. So we're ready systematically, we're ready in terms of manpower, and we're going to disrupt the industry when it comes to pension administration.
All right. Thank you very much for giving us your time, and good luck to you. That's Zamani Letjane, the MD of Akani Retirement Fund Administrators. Thank you very much, sir, again, for giving us your time.
Thank you, Flo, for your time, and thank you.